Hello, there we go. Now we got the audio working. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining from. I am not in my normal place today, as you can tell. I am, in fact, in Lily's studio today, and we're going to do a little behind-the-scenes tour. We may also have a special guest who is looking for some trouble here, looking for things to eat on the floor. How you doing, Kitten? Yeah, she might make a special appearance today. Before we get going, the rough plan for today is take a look at all the things around here. Trying to give you an idea of what goes on in this studio. And if you have any questions throughout, please feel free to drop them in the chat and start them with the letter Q, and I'll be able to see them a little bit better on my screen here. It looks like we got a little kitten helper friend. This is good. This is good. She doesn't normally get to make an appearance on my live streams. And yes, happy holidays, everybody. Let's see who we've got in the chat today. Christopher says short sleeves. Yeah, so the funny thing is one of the reasons I am here today and not in the studio is because we had a lot of snow over the weekend in Portland, and the roads are still extremely slushy, and did not really want to bike in that. It is it's been raining all morning and all night tonight, but it's still, like, if it's not a major street, it is still extremely unpleasant. But it is surprisingly warm in this apartment, probably because of all the video gear that's on. But yeah, it's warm in here. We haven't even turned on the heater, and yeah. Now the cat is trying to eat the plastic off of the boxes. Lovely. Where are the donuts? The donut is here. So I'm not going to be eating this, but Lily will be eating this. Oops, I need the donut light set up. Lily will be eating this on her live stream shortly after. Oh, there's the cat. Dora, do you want to make? You want to say hi to everybody? Here's a little kitten looking for trouble. Yeah. Oh gosh, Dora, this is not a good time. She's trying to bite me. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh no. Dora, do you need attention? Oh, here we go. It's a catnip dreidel.
Come on, Dora.
There we go. Okay, that'll keep her busy for a while. Okay, let's get some other questions in here.
You need a cat cam.
I do need a cat cam. Carl says, how important is it to save ATEM startup states? Thanks. I unfortunately don't have a great way to share my screen right now. But the save startup state thing in the ATEM, basically I treat that as if I ever make a change to the configuration of anything on the ATEM, and I want to make sure that if the power got pulled for some reason, or if I move it and I want it to restore that way, click Save Startup State. I do it very often. There is an autosave checkbox. I don't know what that does or if it works. I've always made sure to actually click Save Startup State. The ATEM Minis, except the original, will also save the images in the media pool, which is nice. Sadly, the Constellation, the big one that I'm using, does not. Oh yeah, Lily's reminding me that I can use the Apple TV to share my screen, because she is doing streams in here more than I am. There we go, and let's see if I've even got the super source. Look at that. With her background on, I should swap that. So this is the Constellation, but here is the ATEM Mini Extreme that we're using for today. And do I have my background loaded in here by any chance? Looks like nope. I can grab it later. But yeah, so the save startup state option is just right up here. And if you click that, if the power goes out and comes back on, now it'll resume exactly like this. The okay, lots of good questions coming in. Oh, Let's Celebrate TV says the autosave in software control saves a full XML every 10 minutes in an autosave directory. Does it really? I've never noticed that before. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder where those are going in mine, because I normally save my XML files not in the default directory. And that would mean I would have so many files if it's doing that. Interesting. Okay. That also implies that it only works if it's connected to the software control. So it's not going to do anything if your software control app is not running. Interesting. Okay, lots of good questions coming in. Make sure you start with the letter Q, otherwise I'm going to lose them in the chat here. We finally get to see the infamous APK desk. Yes, you will in a second, very shortly. Okay, let's do a couple more questions, and then we're going to take out a wireless camera and show you around here. Probably just my phone. Oh, speaking of, oops. Is there any cheap solution for a wireless camera feed at the ATEM or OBS for moving footages? I will show you how to use a wireless camera today as part of showing you around this studio. We are going to be using the app called Shoot. I hope I linked it down below. If not, I'm going to have to remember to add that link, because it's really hard to actually search the App Store for that. And basically what it does is it gives you it's an app on the phone that gives you a clean feed from when you're mirroring your screen. So the app looks like this, some little controls on it, but when you mirror your phone either through a cable, oh, I just took a screenshot. I have a triple tapped a screenshot. Either when you attach a cable to your phone or AirPlay your phone, then it will mirror a clean image without the interface on it, which is kind of cool. So the that's what we're going to use, and then I'm going to be mirroring that to an Apple TV, and the Apple TV is plugged into the ATEM over there, which we'll take a look at shortly. But a couple other questions here. Are you streaming directly from Lily's ATEM, or are you rolling back to your studio? So this is the trick for today's setup. I am going from the ATEM Mini Extreme here to my studio, to the Pro Convert that's over there. My studio is then streaming to my YouTube. And then Christopher asked, how will we be switching from my stream to Lily's? I thought about that because I want to have my stream running right up until we switch over to her stream, so that I can send all of you over to hers automatically using YouTube's live redirect feature. So that means that we can't like change this ATEM where it's streaming to without dropping my stream. So my stream's coming from the studio. This is going to the studio. And basically when we switch over, I'm going to be streaming from a different device at my studio, another ATEM, to her channel. And that way we basically have both streams going in parallel. And then we'll just do a little switch over, changing seats and stuff when we actually move over. So that'll be at the end. Drew says, is there a trick to using USB tethering to iPhone on the YoloBox Pro? Can't seem to activate mine. USB tethering. I have done that before, and I feel like I didn't have to do anything special. The iPhone does... I think the iPhone won't activate the USB tethering feature unless you're actually on the hotspot page, even if it's plugged in. So try that. It could be on the iPhone side that is causing that problem. Yeah, why is Aaron not in the studio? Because he is snowed in. On the YoloBox Pro, can you invite guests in monitor mode? I don't think so. I don't think so, because it requires, because it's using their like cloud service, so you have to be online for that to work. If it's possible, it would just show up like there wouldn't be anything special you'd have to do. So I don't think it's possible though. Question from earlier, how to send the audio from a presentation laptop to a mixer and the video to a projector at the same time. Planning to use the ATEM Constellation 2ME in the future setup. Presentation laptop to a mixer and to a video of the projector at the same time. So on, I believe, yeah, on a Mac, it only lets you send the computer only lets you send output to one device. So if you click on the little speaker icon, it'll only let you choose one thing. So you could either go out headphones or out your HDMI. So that is potentially a problem. There on a Mac, there is software that can create like virtual audio interfaces, and you could output to the virtual interface, which then can send the output to multiple places. Audio Hijack or Loopback, I think, are the names. I can't remember off the top of my head, and I don't have them on this laptop right now. If you're on a PC, I believe the PC can output to multiple devices simultaneously. Otherwise, there is another option, which is using an HDMI audio extractor. So it's a little box. They're not very expensive. I don't think there's any particular brand I would recommend. They're all pretty generic, but it goes HDMI in, HDMI out, and analog audio out. So your computer would send its video and audio over that HDMI. Your ATEM gets one copy, and then an analog jack gets the other. So that's the other way to do it if you want to buy hardware. Thought of upgrading your bike with fat tires, electric bike conversion? I am actually getting an electric bike conversion kit for it. Not going to help me ride in the snow. And I don't know if I really want to plan on riding in the snow. It doesn't also snow very often here, so it's not really a problem. Michael says Loopback is fantastic and would definitely do this. Cool. Okay. Yeah. I've done it before. It's just been a while. Okay. Oh, the cat's back. So let's take a quick... speaking of shoot and screen mirroring, let's set this up. Oh my gosh, Dora. And then you'll get a kitten cam also. So I'm going to just regular Apple screen mirroring to the Apple TV that's in the office. And there it is. And now we can see the cat. Trying to look for trouble here. Yes. Okay, now she's being nice and cute on the table. This is a good question. With the Shoot app, does it send audio over HDMI and wireless stream? I could have sworn it did. I thought it did, and I am not getting audio right now. And I don't know if it's a problem with the Apple TV or if just Shoot doesn't do it. Because I could have sworn it did send audio. But I'm not getting audio right now, so that means that I need to cross my fingers that the Rode Wireless Go has charged and go plug that in, because I did not plan enough ahead. Michael says, I got distracted and my brain fried a little bit when I looked back at the stream. I watch both of you pretty regularly and got confused seeing you with this set. Yeah. Okay. Kitten is going to keep you company here while I go and grab the Rode and try to plug it in. Oh, do I have my little music interlude buttons? I've also got my remote Stream Deck control. I should be able to start some music here. Let's see if these are charged up enough. Nope. Darn. I'm gonna throw a wrench in things. Okay. Plan B is, instead of the iPhone camera, I've got a wired camera over there. Wrong companion. Button. She just wants to be involved. Okay. so this is behind the scenes, and there is the cat. I should probably turn on the light in the room. It is extremely dark in here with only the set lighting. Okay. Now you can see the kitten and taking her place on the streaming desk. So this is what we got, and this is the camera that the main camera for the shot is here, and oh, you're gonna chase it? No. Okay. The main camera for the shot is this. This is the Lumix GX85. It just has the kit lens, which does well enough. I want to make this a little bit brighter. There we go. And it's set to autofocus right now, which has been doing okay. Obviously, Panasonic autofocus is not the best, but it does do a decent job. And if I'm not here to help focus the camera, then it is better than not having that, so that Lily's just always in focus. There is a screen above the camera, which is like a confidence monitor, and that is just so that Lily can see what the shot looks like. It is plugged directly into the camera, so it goes camera to the screen, that goes into the ATEM. And then there's another monitor here, which is what she uses for comments, and I've got my chat on here as well. So that is this screen is actually plugged into a Chromecast. So that is a single browser tab shared into there. And for Lily's stream, she's actually using my Chrome extension that mirrors the chat tab over to that screen. And then that actually goes into the ATEM. So this is a this is actually an output from, well, I'll go over to the ATEM here. This is the ATEM that's doing all the work, but there's a bunch of stuff behind this panel as well. There's a Chromecast in there. I've got a power thing plugged into it here so I can reboot it if needed, which I need to do surprisingly often. And a couple of other inputs and outputs from the ATEM are routed back into this panel. So this is the hyperdeck that plays your video clips, network for the hyperdeck. The main camera is plugged into input 1 here. Don't have anything on input 3 right now, but that's like if we wanted to plug in another camera overhead or something. And then these are basically the two outputs from the ATEM. One goes to this screen, which is the multi-view, and the other goes to the screen behind the tripod here. So if you can kind of see, let me back up a bit. You can kind of see how this is set up. Everything is on that one light stand. So that's the actual main light. The little impact grippy thing that holds up the camera and the screen above it. And there's another one down here for that screen. The monitor, the microphone is, I don't know if you can see this. It's attached with a little clamp here, but the regular mic arm that you would attach to a table is like bolted to this so that it can mount slightly away from the pole and then get into a good spot. It's not necessarily ideal, but it was what I had here and was able to make it work. The cat's very fascinated by the cord that is dangling from this camera. Okay, so when Lily is doing her show, she is seeing this. And this is, she'll have her laptop down there like I have mine, Stream Deck, multi-view, chat, confidence monitor, really bright light. And that's what she does. Everything else is like behind the table and she doesn't have to touch it during the show. You may recognize that from my early YouTube videos. That was, I had basically this camera was pointing the other direction and I was using it for my videos, and then we would spin it around for her live streams. And then I moved into the studio, and now I don't use this for live streams anymore. Okay, so the ATEM ATEM Mini Extreme on, of course, the PK1 stand, so that we can get a nice monitor up there. That, I guess that monitor isn't like strictly necessary anymore because now that Lily's running her own show, she doesn't ever look at that. But I was looking at that when I would be back here running her show for her. If you look behind the mess, you can see the Apple TV and a Raspberry Pi. So the Raspberry Pi is where Companion is running, and that's what runs the buttons. So all the buttons over here are running off that Raspberry Pi, and the Apple TV, again, we talked about that for sharing computer screen or using the Shoot app for a clean feed from a phone. Which again, I could have sworn it did audio, so I have to figure out what's going on with that. Audio. So the microphone is set up there, just out of the frame. It's the Audio-Technica AT875R. Had that for years. It's great. It is plugged into this Zoom F4. Let's see if we can make that brighter. That's just oh geez. That poor little camera. Oops. That was the Insta360 camera that I have as my webcam at this desk. I was just trying to get that cable out of the way. So there's the Zoom Zoom F4 plugged into the Audio-Technica mic, only using one channel of it. I actually originally got this because it was the only one that worked with the TV Studio HD a long time ago, but now it lives here and we use it for this set. That runs an 1/8 inch out into the ATEM back here. So that's how that's connected. It can record SD cards. I haven't used that in a long time. For a while I was recording videos here on it, recording to the SD card, but now we just do everything with the ATEM and record into the ATEM onto a hard drive or just do a live stream directly. So that goes into the analog input, of course. And then what else? So normally this is streaming directly to the YouTube channel and Hyperdeck. So I should talk about that a little bit. Not really using the Hyperdeck shuttle to its full potential here because it's out of reach from Lily, of course. But this has got the little clips that she uses, like the countdown timer is loaded onto there. It is just a 3-minute long video clip with music in the clip, and it's also got the little donut theme song in it. So we've got buttons on the companion set up to trigger those clips, so that she can just cue the countdown timer whenever she wants. What else? I think that's everything. Oh, the light itself is the Aputure 120D Mark II. I got that in December 2019, I think. And no, maybe it was 2018. I think it was 2018. And it has been doing great. It is on this pole, which I think it came with this light stand. And this light stand is definitely about at its limit of what it can hold up. You can see it's kind of wobbly if you bump it. The ones I have at the studio are much stronger, and I can mount a lot more things to them. But yeah, let me sit down and see if there's any questions in the chat. Maybe I can then run through the companion buttons too. So yeah, multi-view is visible to Lily, and the confidence monitor on that. So let's go back. Need to change the audio back. And I need to give myself another button for that. I'm going to mirror my computer screen back into it so I can share that with you. So I am using this is the overhead microphone, and I'm using her companion, but I've got my own page of buttons set up on it, and I gave myself a couple of audio buttons, and I forgot to make one for Cam 2, which also called Cat Cam, but that way I can switch to the microphone that's on this camera if I need to. Okay, let's take a look at the questions, see if anybody has any questions about what we just looked at. Oh, hi. I have a ton of those Manfrotto super clamps. They're great to mount things. Yeah, they're really good at just attaching random things to other random things. The long name is Shoot Pro Webcam. Okay, thanks. This cat just wants attention. Rob says, so Lily plays clips from the shuttle or via something like PlayOppy. It is using the HyperDeck shuttle. The Raspberry Pi in there, I guess I could have used that for it, but it is only running Companion right now. Dora is the floof of the week today. Yes, he's doing a very good job of being floof of the week. Okay, so let's take a look at the Companion setup. This is something that we've done a little bit on my stream every now and then. Looking at her configuration for how she runs the show. So starting at page 1, these are like the different, these jump to different pages. I just gave myself this little button today for skipping over to my special page, one-off page that I just made. So these go to different pages. Like 2 is pre-show, 3 is the main one, 4 is for the donut ratings, 5 is for the floof of the week stuff, and 6 is a planner page. So page 2, this is just setting up the countdowns. So now that I haven't redone this since she used to have the small one and we upgraded her to the large one thanks to a bunch of your super chats. And haven't actually moved these buttons around since then. And I think there's now room to make more of more different countdowns, right? So like 5 minutes, what this does is it says go to clip number 3, go into single clip playback mode, and I think this one is, I think the clip is 5 minutes long. Oh, do you want a seat? Do you want to sit down? You can sit down. What do you want? Okay. But if you look at the 1 minute, yeah, it's a 5 minute clip. So there's a companion action that can tell the HyperDeck to scroll to a certain point in time. What are you doing? So this one skips ahead to 4 minutes, which means there's 1 minute left. So if we wanted to make a 2 minute button, we could do 2 minutes, go ahead 3, and then it would skip ahead 3 minutes, leaving 2 minutes left in the countdown. And we can do that for 3 minutes. These are not in a good order, but we can move them around later. And that way, if she ever wants to start with different amounts of time left, that's easier. What else is this doing? This is doing go to the clip, skip ahead, play the clip, set the program to the HyperDeck, turn off the key, which is for the chat, turn off the microphone, turn on the music for the HyperDeck. That makes sense. So it's basically get everything off the air except the countdown. She just went into her little Tetris. Where there is, of course, a catnip dreidel. So maybe that's why. So much cat content on this stream today. Yeah, she's very cute. Maybe if I just leave this camera here, we can always have a place to cut over, or a way to cut over to it if we need to. There we go. Now we have a cat cam. That's the point of the cat cam. So, oh, you lose it. Okay. So yeah, we've got 3 minutes. Let's just complete this and make it 4 minute one and then move them around to make a little bit more sense. So it skips ahead 1 minute. And then on air is basically, what she'll do is start the countdown and then press on air, which starts streaming to YouTube. So let's move these to the end to make room. 45 seconds is the length of her theme song, which is in the countdown timer clip. So the 45 seconds left is starting the $1 theme. But now we've got room for all these across the top. So that's the pre-show. Oh, now she's settling in for a little bath. Excellent. This is the main page she spends the most time on. So all the different, there's a lot going on here actually. Seems like we might want to clean this up a little bit. But microphone audio versus iPad audio, so that toggles the audio for either the overhead mic or for the iPad. So iPad is how she would like play video clips or share stuff from her phone. And then these are all the cameras. So there's a couple extra actions in here besides just cutting. So it does cut to the main camera, but it'll also turn on the microphone, for example, and it will set the upstream key off air. Upstream key 1 is what we've got in there is, this is the right ATEM, usually picture in picture. So if you look at some of the other buttons, it'll be like here's one, Apple TV in circle. So if I wanted to show, instead of the super source layout, for example, going to full screen on the computer screen with a circle picture in picture, let's press that. Yeah, actually, that's interesting. Why isn't that a circle? Something got messed up. There must be a action missing from here, which is setting the key type. Because it is definitely supposed to be a circle. It's supposed to be pattern. I wonder how that got messed up. Is the overhead circle working? Nope. Well, maybe we can fix these right now too. Upstream key. Oh, I should get my big face off of there. There we go. So yeah, upstream key 2 is supposed to be the circle picture in picture, which then you need to remove if you change another camera angle. So let's fix this. It is supposed to be using a set upstream key 1 on air. It's supposed to be using a pattern key, not DBE, and that circle is not in the right spot either. How did we lose that? So we should be able to configure and then click the learn button. So let's try that. Let's go here and press on air and try to get this in the right spot. So it should be, no, should be, and she's a little bit shorter than me, so I think we'll go like that and make it a little bit less soft. And then we don't need to mask it, but we do need a flying key. So it's supposed to be like up in the corner. And then if we go back to companion, we should be able to say upstream change set mask. Well, learn, there is no mask. So we still want to do that. That's what's missing. There's no type. Yeah, there's no way to set the type of the key. So if you ever change it away from pattern, there's no way to change it back to pattern. Is that really right? Because there's... Yeah. Just change DBE properties, but that doesn't change the... That doesn't let us set a pattern key. So that means we need a macro, which I bet there's already one in here for it. Yep, upstream key 1 circle. So if I choose that, I wonder what it's going to do. Yeah. So we just need to run that macro. And it is here. So now, let's see. Let's change it back to the wrong thing and see if the button works. Take that off air. And now if I press Apple TV in circle, there it goes. So that's fixed, which means now overhead circle needs to also do the same. So we don't care about DBE properties, I don't think, but we do need to run. We need to run the macro. Oops. circle. Cool. And then I guess the pumpkin we can get rid of. That was for Halloween pumpkins. Small wire iPad. Oh, that's using that is getting the input 5, which is a wire that's dangling down here somewhere in case she wants to actually plug it in an iPad and have it small in the corner. Camera with Apple TV. What is that? Super source layout. So the main ones are camera, Apple TV full screen, and then the super source layout. That works. Okay. Let's see what we've got in the chat. Can use PTZ with tracking as a cat camera. I don't know if it would be set up to track cats. Oh, but that reminds me, I should actually share some of those videos that I took. But let me give you the cat cam in the meantime. I left my phone over there. So I wanted to share an update on gotta share the other screen now. While it was snowing started snowing on what's the date? Friday, the 23rd. And then by Saturday morning, the 24th, it was still snowing out. But on Friday, we took advantage of the snow and lack of ability to get anywhere besides with public transit and went to the skating rink. And I brought the little robot camera that I showed last week on last week's stream to see how it would do there. The skating rink was extremely empty. And what do you need?
My iPad.
Oh.
Thank you.
She's very cute.
Do you have the cat cam on?
Yeah. The rink was very empty and it was fun. So I was set up at the side of the rink with the little robot camera on the Insta360 selfie stick, and wanted to see how it would do. So let's see. Let me pull up. This is me playing the video off of the phone. Usually works decently. Phone is AirPlay connected to the Apple TV, so when I play stuff out of the camera roll, it just plays on the Apple TV. But yeah, so I was set up on the side of the rink with my phone stuck in the little camera or little tracking thing. They're not connected at all other than just like physically attached. The little ball thing has cameras all the way around it so it can see around it. So here is it just following Lily as she's skating around, and then it's panning my phone, right? And I'll show you in a second. I'll show you the clip that we actually got from the phone itself. Let's see, here's another one, a little bit more dramatic. Oh, here we go. That one's why I shot in landscape mode. It's interesting that it moves really quick, but it's kind of like it wants to move. It only wants to move if needed, right? It's like trying to hold still if possible, and only when she gets to the edge will it actually turn. But yeah, it did surprisingly well at this. And what I thought was really interesting too is that there was no setup. There was no configuration or anything. It was just put the phone into the thing, turn it on, and then it just started working. Like there was no app to download. There was no pairing process or anything. Let me see if I can find the actual video from that my phone recorded. Let's see, looks like it's this one. This is from my phone, from the actual from that camera, or from my phone attached to that camera. Oh, it did lose her going behind the tree. I did notice that it did not recover from that very well. Once she came back, but eventually, let's see, where did it pick her up again? Yeah, it didn't pick her up again until she came back in the frame. So I'm not quite sure what happened there, but other than going behind the tree, it worked. It worked very well. So yeah, kind of fun. I think I'm gonna see if she wants to take it to the ring on her own later and just film herself that way. Yeah, it's a little bit jerky as it's panning. Like it's definitely moving quickly, but I don't actually mind it. I think it makes sense because otherwise it would have to, like, I don't know, be like constantly moving. And I like that sometimes it just lets it stay still. Yeah, kind of cool. So that was a fun little experiment with that little device. So thanks to them for sending it out again. Yeah, Graham says, I like it doesn't move unless necessary. I've seen cameras that track lectures who pace back and forth with constant movement. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it makes sense that, like, because if I was, trying to film, I would also try to hold still I know, unless I know she's about to leave the frame, right? Oh, cat's going and cat's bored with this adventure now. On for looking for more trouble out there. MT says it looks like a cat following the mouse in the hole and waits until the mouse comes out again. Very patient camera. Yeah. Oh, good question from What Are You Doing? How many changes before you export companion file for backup? I do it after every change since the file is so small. So funny story, I a couple times have lost my config for whatever reason. Something bad happened, and then I set up a automatic backup of it now. So it's like every hour it takes a snapshot now, and because yeah, the files are tiny, so I don't really care about wasting disk space on it. But I have a thing running on the server here that just goes to both of the companions and runs the export. I realized that it's if you kind of mirror my screen again, if you have if you go into the web interface and you click on this export everything, if you actually look at what it's doing, you can see the URL down in the bottom left corner. It just visits that URL. So if you open that link, it downloads the full backup, and that means you can just do that with a script. So you can just grab that URL at any point. So, like if I go to, let me go to just terminal, you can just go like curl, and there's the whole export. So that's everything. And then you can just automate it. So I have it in a cron job, and it just downloads that to a file. It's great. So I've just got piles and piles of those now. Yeah, Lily is really good at skating. Oh, interesting question from Larry. Do you think YOLO Live will do an SDI device? I don't. I don't think so. I think I don't think that that is the right. I don't. I suspect not. I think that most of their target market is not people who end up using a bunch of SDI stuff though, because the YoloBox it's all in one, compact, no complicated settings, no complicated stuff, right? And as soon as you start getting into the SDI world, you probably need things that the YoloBox won't do. So that's my opinion. I could be wrong. We'll see. Oh, wait, let me scroll to see if there's any question that I missed. Oh, Sven says, I have a strong picture delay when connecting the YoloBox Pro via USB to the computer. If I take HDMI out, and the cam link, the delay is much less. Do you know the problem too? Oh, I am not surprised because the USB out is like it's like the webcam out. I don't think there's a solution to it. I just think that's just the deal. But your workaround of the HDMI out into a capture card is fine. David says, have you tried the YoloBox 4 update? YoloLive appears to be pushing their cloud offerings quite a bit in this update. Yeah, I haven't actually downloaded it because it came out just a couple days ago. But there's a whole new thing in the YoloBox called, what was it called? Ardent streaming protocol. It's their own network protocol for streaming, and basically it creates a huge buffer on the YoloBox and then uploads that to their service using their own protocol. The whole point is that if your YoloBox loses a network connection, it can actually recover better using their own custom thing instead of just going direct RTMP. So I'm going to do some tests with that and try to do some of that live. I'll probably do a live stream on this channel with it where we actually yank out the cord live and that kind of stuff and see how the stream recovers. Very interesting. That is, I believe it's free for now, but it's going to be part of their actual cloud subscription that includes other things as well. But yeah, try it out now for sure. And I'll do some tests with it also. The other, what, there was an in-stream update too. Oh yeah, the in-stream update added, I don't have it here obviously because it's at the studio, but really cool update there. So, you know, I did a video like a couple of weeks ago about simultaneously streaming from your ATEM to Instagram using the YoloBox, your in-stream. And the way that one worked was they added a rotate feature a couple of updates ago, which is cool. But the problem with the rotate feature was that it was limited to fitting, I guess. So this is from the video. You can rotate the camera so that's actually, you know, the right orientation, but it would always shrink it down into that size. And what they did in the latest update was make it so that instead of shrinking it, you can actually have it crop the middle bit. And that's great because that's probably what you wanted. You didn't want just the tiny version. So the that is a super cool update. And basically it makes the next video that I was planning to do completely obsolete, which was looking for workarounds for that feature. So glad they did that, because now I don't have to make that other video, which was not going to be a great workaround anyway. And now it's just built in, which is a lot easier. So that's cool. Stop and Think says, what is the full breadth of YoloBox product line compared to Blackmagic's full line consumer to professional? I think actually I did a decent job of explaining that the differences in this video, which I'll drop in the chat. The video is called YoloBox versus ATEM Mini. Watch this before you buy. So that link is in the chat, and that is a that's where I talked about like the main differences in how the two categories of products work, because they, you know, there are like different products within each category. There's a bunch of different ATEM minis and constellations and stuff, and there's a couple of different YoloBox models, but regardless of the specific differences between the two families or the products within the family, the two work in totally different ways, and you'll probably want to go to one or the other version of that depending on how you like to work. So on the topic of why are we not using YoloBox here in this studio, for example, I think one of the reasons is because of the external control capability. So with the YoloBox, there is no option to control it from other devices. And we have a Stream Deck here because that means we can make buttons that do specific things like queue up a countdown timer, switch to a camera, create layouts, and that's all customizable. Now, in order to make those buttons, there's like 5 steps of things to do, right? You have to get a Stream Deck, install Companion on something, create the layouts in the ATEM. It's complicated, but then once it's running, it's just there and it's always the same. On the YoloBox, you don't really get that. It's all touch interface, and you can create the layouts directly on the device, so it's a lot easier to create them. But then it's not necessarily as repeatable, right? So 2 totally different ways of working. Also, the amount of stuff here, like you saw in the behind the scenes tour a little bit ago, how much stuff there is, and that's the stuff that you see, not the stuff that's behind, like inside the desk. And the equivalent for a YoloBox rig is a lot smaller because there's so much more that is inside the YoloBox built in. David says, joining late, but I'm sure I'll still learn something. I hope so. But definitely you will want to scroll back a little bit at some point because I just did the whole tour of all the gear here. Ocean Heights says, do you have a problem when you switch to footage with an ATEM and you use auto and it stick? Not sure what the rest of that question is. I think we talked about this a little bit last week, though. There is a setting in the ATEM, which is, oops, it's in here, which is the video standard. And there is an auto mode option. I always set the video standard to the exact standard that I want because I don't want to deal with what happens if you plug in things in the wrong order or if things change. I don't want it to be changing the video standard on me. So I would definitely recommend picking what frame rate you want your ATEM to be in and just setting it here, and don't use the auto. And that should help get rid of some of the weird glitches you might be seeing. Lily says Dora has been activated. Is she doing laps around there now? Yeah. Okay. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Flying kittens. Wow. Okay, let me talk a little bit about how this stream is set up while we're talking about that. So the ATEM here, the ATEM Mini Extreme here, is streaming to my studio right now. And my studio, all the cameras are off, but the ATEM is still on. And I got a bunch of other stuff in the ATEM, right? I've got my computer running the graphics for the chat and the countdown and stuff. And I've got a Pro Convert, Magewell Pro Convert. I believe I linked that down below, which is a super, super handy little device used for all sorts of things. And one of the other things I have there is a encoder so that I can pull up the multi-view remotely. So if I show you my screen now, this is my computer screen pulling up the multi-view of the studio in VLC Player. So I can just pull up the multi-view to see what my studio is seeing. And I do reconfigure this when I do streams remotely because I want the web presenter status. That's what's streaming to my channel right now. I want that to be here large. And then here is the feed that my the home ATEM is sending to the studio. This one is actually the other way around. This is the Mac Mini that's in there also is running VLC, pulling up the multi-view of the local ATEM. So I've got both multi-views there, but that is for later because then I want to be able to, here I'll actually just cut over. If I go to, where's my companion? Eventually what I'm going to do is, where did it go? Computer. So at the end of the show, right before I'm ready to cut over to Lily, I'm going to end up showing you the computer feed, which shows the multi-view of the home studio so that we can switch things over and not have to end my stream early. So all I'm really using at home is, or at the studio, is the Magewell and then the the graphics from the Mac Mini. So if I actually, I can show you the, let's go back to my large ATEM. I can also choose what goes out of that encoder. So if I go, where is it? DD-Mol encoder, I can show you multi-view 2 instead, for example. And now this VLC should change to multi-view 2. Oh, there's nothing on it. I thought that showed one of the other, like the graphics or something, but no. But yeah, this is like, I don't know. It's there's so many back and forths. It's kind of confusing, but it is really nice to be able to access both ends, the multi-view and the program feed at both ends. So either at home or in the studio. So VLC is pulling up the RTSP stream of a little HDMI encoder. So if you, like, I'll close this out. If I go open network stream, you can see the RTSP address is one of the little HDMI encoders that's there. And if I just open that network stream, it just so happens that what's routed to that is the multi-view of my constellation. So if I look at that address in a browser, it'll show you the encoder. This one is a little DD-Mol thing I got from Amazon. It wasn't cheap, unfortunately, but you can choose. Oh, interesting. I put it in 720 mode. I was probably dealing with some bandwidth issues. Let's bump it up to 1080. See if this picture gets better. Yep, that's better. Nice. I have the bandwidth for it now. The miscellaneous stream, that's where it is. This is where you set the RTSP address. So it'll give you an RTSP address on of the IP address of the device, and you can look at that in anything. So I just pulled it up in VLC, which is easy. It works. Oh no, Lily's stuck on the couch. Someone sat on me. I don't have my. Oh, Lily can share her phone. We can see a picture. Lily, you want to share your iPhone camera to the Apple TV? And we get a kitten cam. Jonathan says, "Happy holidays. You're in a foreign land." Yes, I am. Yeah, I'm in Lily's studio. We did a little behind the scenes tour of all the gear here. Okay, there's her phone. Let's wait for her to get her camera up. Oh, there we go. Kitten cam. Live kitten cam. Yeah, now she's all relaxed. Ready for naps. So much cat content on my stream. Okay, you're off the air. Oh, you want to show the tail? Very important tail. Great. Jonathan says, does the Blackmagic web presenter do RTSP? No, it doesn't. So the web presenter is strictly RTMP only. So it is whatever comes in the HDMI or SDI, it just goes out one RTMP feed. And that's what I'm using that's what's pushing to my YouTube channel right now. So yeah, I like having these little devices around to be able to pull up the, like, basically what I want is a remote multi-view, right? I want to be able to see the multi-view of this ATEM at the studio, and I want to be able to see multi-view of the studio ATEM when I'm out of the studio. So those little encoders are great for that. Let me see if I can find the encoder that I'm actually using for that. This is the one. Let's see if my new button works. I made a new button that says lets me send my links to products to the chat faster. Did that end up in the chat? We'll find out. So Magewell or others. So it did work. There it is, the DD mall. That's the one I'm using for RTSP. I think Magewells do support RTSP encoding, but I only have the Magewell decoder, so that's the other end of it. And that's a lot of these devices are one or the other. So it'll be HDMI in, network out, or network in, HDMI out. So the you know, on one end you have, I wish I had I do have my iPad. I need to draw this. Another use for the Apple TV. There we go. So let's get, oh, 0. AirPlay setup. And let's get a drawing app going. Cool. So now I can actually draw on this. That brush is way too big. I need a small brush. Okay. So if you have like an ATEM in the studio, and I want to be able to pull up the feed on a remote laptop over the network, or if I want to be able to get a feed into another ATEM, there's two different things going on, right? So I need some box. Oh, I don't like this pen. I want like a, I just want a straight line. Just give me a regular pen. Why is there not a regular pen in this app? Oh my gosh. What? This app is too fancy. Fine. Okay. So this is the Magewell. Really, I wish I had a different brush on this. But this is the Magewell receiver. So the ATEM can do RTMP to that, right? So that's not going out HDMI. It's going out the RTMP network. But if I want the multi-view, I need to take HDMI. Oh my God. Cannot handle this pen. Okay, what is going on? Drawing. Weird. Okay, if I push hard, then it works. So this is HDMI. If I want to get that multi-view out to the computer, I need to send that to something else. And that is this DDMall thing. Oh my God, why is it? I should have used a different app. This is really frustrating. DDMall. That does not do, I have nothing else to push it to over here, right? So I need to pull from it, and that's RTSP. So RTSP basically gives you a URL that you can pull from, RTMP is the other way around. So like like the ATEM needs to push the feed somewhere. So the ATEM is pushing its program feed to the Magewell, which can receive an RTMP feed. The DD-Mall has the ability for something else to pull from it. So that's VLC on this computer. And it's basically gone and asked for that video feed. I don't know which way to draw that arrow. Maybe it is like this, but it's not pushing, it's pulling. So those are the two different parts of this. The ATEM, so if we look at the other way around right now, so ATEM in this home, it's pushing the RTMP feed to the Magewell Pro Convert at the studio, and then I've got a little RTSP encoder here that is means I can pull up the multi-view on a VLC in the studio, and I've got that at both ends. So that's why I can show you all that stuff that's going on. Okay, questions. John says, "Am I going to eat the donut or is Lily?" That is for Lily. Can you use Blackmagic ATEM without Ethernet? You can. So the ATEM Minis have a USB port, or the Extreme has two USB ports. If you plug that into a phone, it should be able to tether from the phone's connection. But there's no there's no built-in modem or anything. So, but it can tether USB modems. Lynn Taga says, okay, so you stream to your Magewell and then to YouTube and RTSP to see the multi-view. RTSP goes from. So yeah, it's to get this to YouTube. Let's say that this is my this ATEM in the bottom right is my studio. So this is here. Let's do this. This is the line between this is studio and this one is home. Do not understand this app. Oh my gosh. And the studio ATEM is then also connected to, this is the web presenter. So that's how I'm streaming to YouTube. That goes to YouTube. Does that make sense? So the Pro Convert gets the feed from home, just goes into the ATEM just like everything else, which then mixes it with the rest of the graphics and all that kind of stuff. DD-Mall is not cheap for a dongle. I mean, it's not really a dongle. It's a full-on RTMP and RTSP encoder. It just happens to look tiny. But I agree, it's not cheap. I wish it was cheaper. I want to buy a UPS for the ATEM Constellation HD. Do you know what is the watts for the Constellation? Can't find it on the Blackmagic site. Oh, interesting. Oh, MT says the tech specs on the 2ME says 147 watts. Oh my gosh, that's a lot more than I thought. I should double check that my UPS is strong enough for the 4ME. Yeah, MT says I would take a 1800 watt unit and also connect all the attached devices to it just in case. I agree. That's how my rack is set up at home. I've just got everything on I think it's 1800 watts. I don't remember exactly, or at the studio. So are you looking at the multi-view at home? So there's, yeah, when I'm looking at VLC on my laptop, which this is why I like having the Constellation, because I can have all the things plugged in all the time instead of switching back and forth. When I'm looking at the multi-view, which is what this is VLC on my laptop in front of me, right? And like, here's the comments, and here's, you know, the thing I was just showing you, right? So this is VLC running on my laptop at home. This is looking at the RTSP encoder that's at the studio. So that's why I'm seeing the Constellation's multi-view. You can tell it's not the ATEM Mini's multi-view because There's 2 super sources, for example, and 2 MEs. So this way I can keep an eye on the multi-view itself, but also the web presenter is routed back into the ATEM, so I can show it on the screen, for example. But yeah, that is the studio's encoder. And then I also have one of those at home so I can look at the multi-view from here while I'm at the studio, which is what is, this is the remote desktop. Oh, it's really jittery right now. This is the remote desktop of my Mac Mini that's at the studio. It is also got VLC open. You can see up in the title bar. And it's just full screen on that. And that is showing me the, it's like if I weren't at home, this is how I'd be looking at the multi-view from home. That's what I do when I am troubleshooting stuff on LilyStream. I'm gonna close that since it's so jittery. Oh, MT says 147 watt is for the 4ME, 2ME is 52 watts. Cool, okay. Lintago says, okay, so you have the dongle in both places to get the multi-view from both. Yeah, exactly. They're actually different ones, but same idea. They're different shapes, but they're like basically the same feature set. The one at home is, what is it? Oh, it's the Link Pi. That's what it's called. I don't know why it's called Link Pi. But let's see, I can show you what that one looks like. It looks like this. And it starts in Chinese. But yeah, so that's the HDMI plug into that is the multi-view from the ATEM here. And then it has all these other options, but all I'm using it for is the, where is it? RTSP on play URL. There it is. There's the address. So if I pull up that address at the studio, I can see this multi-view. I feel like this web interface is a little bit more complicated. I think it can do more things technically, but I don't like it as much. This one's a little bit easier to deal with. Oh, Graham, thanks for the super chat. Happy 25th of December from one person who doesn't celebrate Christmas to another, and best wishes for the New Year's when it comes. Thank you so much. And thanks for the super chat. Speaking of New Year, yeah, I am planning on doing a stream on my normal Sunday time, which this year will be January 1st, and hopefully putting together a New Year's Eve stream with Lily. Depending how the weather cooperates, we may do it from the studio so that I have access to more toys, and that should be fun. So keep an eye out on both of our channels for that. Yeah.
Invite people if they want to be on as guests.
Oh yeah. Part of the plan for that is to bring people into the stream as guests. We'll start. We'll start. How does the time zone work? An hour before New Year's in Europe, and then wait till we catch up, and we'll go for several hours. So we'll have a bunch of different times depending on your time zone to join. So if you do want to come and say hi and chat on the stream, leave a comment, get in touch with me in John's Discord or other ways, and we'll put together a little schedule. It'll be fun. Oh, Jonathan, thank you for the question. Are these RTMP dependent on VPN, or are they just out there with proper credentials? Good point. These little devices and the RTSP endpoints themselves, the RTSP endpoints don't have any authentication at all. So like if you look at this, it just says, here is the URL. If you can access this URL, that's all you need. Like there's no stream key. RTMP usually uses a stream key, but that's not really anything different. It's just like if this, instead of live 0, actually had a bunch of random numbers and letters after it, that would be effectively a stream key. But this is RTSP is pull, right? So if you have the ability to be on this network, you can grab this address. You can grab the feed. So there's no password. So this is not on the internet, and I don't port forward to this on the internet because that would, anybody would be able to pull it up from the public IP address. This address is on the private network at the studio. So I have to be on the private network in order for that to work. So when I am at the studio, for example, I can just pull it up on a laptop there. If I'm at home, I need to VPN into the studio. And if I'm remote, like traveling, like in a hotel or something, then I go into my laptop and I VPN into the studio, and then pull up that address, because then it doesn't, the VPN makes it look like it's on the local network. The trick that I have at home and at the studio is a two-way VPN at the routers. So there is no VPN software running like on this box or on the ATEMs or anything, but both routers are aware of each other's networks, cross-linked, so that I can just pull up addresses at the studio as if they were local. That's a little trick, which I need to do a proper blog post about. Probably a blog post, probably not a video. I think it's too complicated to explain in a video. But we talked about it a little bit a couple weeks ago. It's a really neat trick, and it's been super great. So it's a Raspberry Pi on both ends doing that work. Graham says, I hope to be in a pub an hour before New Year if I stop having COVID by then. Oh no, but might watch later on. Sorry to hear that. Hopefully you get better quick. Mark says, do you think that OBSBot USB-C to HDMI is a good adapter? Is there a better solution for converting? Yeah, I've had good luck with it in the testing I've done with it. I don't think there is something better, frankly, because the only other dedicated device that I've seen do this is that TBS encoder, but you have to go through a bunch of steps to set it up, whereas the OBSBot, you just plug it in and it works. And the only other way to do it is using an actual computer. And I tried it on a Raspberry Pi. It does not work. I mean, it works. It's horrible. Don't do it. Not worth it. You will be disappointed. I have a blog post about it if you are curious. I wrote down all the steps to do it. It does work. It's just a terrible experience. So I don't recommend it. If you use like a regular laptop, you can open up QuickTime. That's fine, right? You go to QuickTime and you're like, you can do new movie recording, and it'll make you choose a camera here, like your webcam will show up, and it works. You go full screen, and now you've got a clean clean HDMI from your webcam, but you've dedicated an entire computer to that. So, and then you have to worry about bumping the mouse and the screen stuff of the interface popping up. So the OBSBot it's the only thing I've seen that is like no config, no fuss. It just works. Lisa, you're showing my messy shelves. Yeah, I forgot that this camera is very carefully angled to not show anything past that shelf. Sorry. Mark says, we're trying to see if the Owl 360 camera will work with it. Ooh, I haven't tried that one. I don't have that one. That would be really cool if it does. Speaking of Lily, do you need to come set up for your show?
I want to, but I can't.
You're stuck under a cat?
Yeah, she's really tired.
Oh, Jonathan, thank you for the super chat. Go get yourself a coffee and donut to have with Lily. I will, thank you. Yeah, we are out of coffee, actually. Thanks for the super chat. We need to convince the cat to let Lily off the couch so she can come get set up in here. And I need to get out of her way. Oh, are we getting a view of a cat cam again? Yeah. Dora. Dora. She's listening. She's got her little ears perked. Dora. What if I go grab the bag of treats? Okay, you're on air. See how quickly she comes. Ready? Ready? Dora. She's really not certain. She's like, this better be worth it. She's skeptical. She's like, I've been burned before. You want a treat? Here's more. It was real. It was real. Dora. Other way, Dora. It's over here. Yeah. Here she comes. Here she comes. Kitten. Hi. Yeah. Here we go. Here we go. Come up here. Oh. Oh. Okay. There we go. Okay. So we're gonna get ready for Lily's stream. She starts in 5 minutes. What I'm gonna do is I want to be able to get it so that we can see the multi-view from here. So I'm going to pull up that feed again. Yep. Oops. Nope. VLC. And we're going to be able to, where is it? Too many buttons. There we go. So you should be seeing the multi-view from the home ATEM now. And, oh, I'm going to get the little taskbar out of there. There we go. Nope. Nope. I can't move the mouse without a title bar appearing. Oh well. So we are going to wrap this show up and switch over to Lily's show. So I'm going to be able to end this. There we go. Get the treats out of the way. We'll roll the music. Thank you all for joining, and have fun watching us set up for Lily's show, and we'll see you over on her channel shortly.